everyone. My name is Shola, and welcome to Mission to Inspire. We have our special guest here today, all the way from United States of America, and he's from the southern part of that continent. So his name is Kerry. Kerry is the CEO and founder of Potential to Reality Consulting. I'm going to leave it at that because I think it's best from the horse's mouth to do an introduction of themselves and talk of all their accomplishments before we go into today's interview. Hi, Kerry.
Hi, Shola. Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome on our show today. So I'll leave the floor to you to introduce yourself.
Well, as Shola mentioned, I'm the CEO and founder of Potential to Reality Consulting, and it is a boutique, meaning that I only take very few and limited engagements, management consulting, because I'm semi-retired. You probably can tell from all this gray hair that I've been around and done a few things. But among those things that I've done is I spent 20 years working in information technology, starting out with hardware field service with a major information technology firm. Ended up working through the ranks and getting my education through them to be a senior manager with global responsibility for service quality, field technical education, and customer loyalty. And then in addition to that, while I was going through those things, I guess the key aspect is I never have really figured out what I really wanted to truly be. So I'm still evolving as I go. But during that time, got full-time ministry work, was a senior associate pastor, chief operating officer for a ministry, ended up after that working for the government in the state of Georgia as a agency director, vice director. I wasn't the head of the agencies. And then consulting and working again with information technology companies. And then finally getting to the point of where I am today of deciding to do it on my own. And in addition to this, I lost my mind and decided to go back to school. And so I'm a doctoral student in the midst of all of this too. So.
Oh, wonderful. So are you a student now?
I am, yes. Just finished my first semester, made it okay. I'm going back again.
Excellent. That's great. So what are you, I know you said, so that's doctorate degrees, isn't it?
Yeah, Doctor of Business Administration at Georgia State University.
Ah, wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to dive into the this or that, which is our next segment. And I know you've accomplished a lot of things over the years. And then the this or that question is just going to be based around that. Okay, so our first question.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
No problem.
Yeah. Okay. So our first question is this. I'm going to ask a question about your enterprise transformation or operational excellence. Which area do you find most challenging and why?
Well, they are interrelated. And there's sometimes when you're moving along a operational continuum, so to speak, of an organization, you really need to jump to a different level of performance. And so the leader then is charged with, or it's their responsibility to be able to move that organization from their current level of performance to a new level of performance, and whether it's in a different area of operations or different products or services or not. And so a lot of times that is very difficult because change is really difficult for people. And so that's the difference. I think it has challenges in different places. One is being able to recognize when you need to change, and the other is being able to understand what you need to do, focus, and then align your organization in that direction.
Ah, so interesting. Wow. So our next question then. So I know you've done quite a few, not few actually, you've done quite a lot of things with the non-profit organization. So which one would you prefer? Non-profit organization or commercial enterprise?
Actually, I like all of them, but the idea and one of the things, the reason that I went back to school to get my doctorate is I believe that there is a connectedness that we have in our society overall, and organizations have their own missions and places in order to be able to produce societal good. One of the areas that I've been focusing most on is in government and consulting, and that is because of the coordinating and interweaving role between, so interweaving the not-for-profit and then being able to deliver. So I like all of them, but I guess if I were to classify, what I'm really focused on is I really focus on working with organizations where a leader has a desire to do something dramatically different or dramatically in support of society, their stakeholders, their entire stakeholder organization.
Okay, so that actually takes me to the next one then. So from that, which would you prefer, leading change or managing the change?
Well, at this point in my life, I've been on both ends of it, and I think that my strengths and my desire now is in advising change, and that more toward the leading standpoint. And where my practice is focused is on advising the leaders. The major organizational change is a leadership-led responsibility. And so that's not something really that the leader can delegate. If they try, then generally those are the transformations that fail. And so I'm at that point in my career and also my experience that I've been around, that my job is to help those leaders be able to make those choices, exercise the techniques, and be able to successfully navigate that transformation that they have embarked on for their organization.
Oh, great. So then the next one. I know you're a specialist in Lean Six Sigma. Which one would you prefer then? Project management or Lean Six Sigma?
I have certifications in both, but I'm really focused as a master black belt, Lean Six Sigma, on the strategic areas of quality, and that kind of goes back to that common theme of where I'm at, and my desire and my hope and the way that I see the quality tools and arts is to be able to help those organizations be able to define what is the value proposition that they offer, and then how are they aligning themselves, and are they enabling themselves to be able to get the work done strategically on the long side, and then the day-to-day work from the front lines.
Right. Okay. Right. So lastly is, I know you've been the treasurer of the ASQ. So which one would you prefer, being the treasurer or designated examiner?
Well, they're different roles. The treasurer role is more along the lines of my giving back responsibility and also helping to lead the organization as one of the officers. ASQ is the largest quality overall, and to make sure we use our resources to in financial to value we're willing to give to the world, that being able to prepare quality leaders and other organizations to be able to understand those quality needs. As a designated examiner, that is a very specific that we are focus, and that is in particular in looking at the maturity and the performance of government agencies. And so I was working with the among the initial cohort of designated examiners, and so I worked at two state organization level, and that was and the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms field response unit for elect forces response, and there was to use my knowledge to be able to implement implementation and put into your admitting that unit review approval relative to doing.
Thank you. My question. We've actually got some answers. Thank you. So we got the final interview question today, and I would like to, for today, is navigating excellence, because we could see from your experience that you have so much excellence. We will do that our interview question. So today I ask you about you, and we want to seek an example from where your expertise is information and the profound impact organizations receive.
When I'm asked, and I consider it over time, I go back work of the Family and Children's Service here in their initial director of change management. Submitted for me need work. That work over is to begin with catching older adults that are vulnerable and end up dealing with situations of neglect and abuse while those families are going on. At the time that I entered that engagement and joined that agency, the field workers, well, it's a dramatic piece of work anyway, but the field caseworkers have a tremendously difficult job because they interact directly with those families, and the technology was paper-based. And what we found out is that literally children were dying because the case information was written on paper forms that was sitting on a supervisor's desk, that while the caseworker over the weekend, or either there was a transition because the caseworker had moved on to something else or decided that they could not continue in that profession. And the vital information that the caseworker was trying to convey to a supervisor was written in paper. And so the state agency was trying to implement new technology to get that infrastructure changed. And I learned so much about the difficulties of that job. But the success is that we were able to take that project and turn it around and be able to implement new tools. At that time, it was the beginning of convertible laptops that recognized handwritten input. And we were able to use off-the-shelf technology and be able to get that deployed with the requirements of those field workers and the organization, and be able to start saving the lives of children. It literally saved lives, the work that we did. And so that has had a profound effect on me for the going forward in my career, and also just leading up to that it really shows the value of being able to fully integrate the whole of the organization, change people's focus, be able to integrate technology, and then be able to deal with the major issues that are confronted in that organization during those transition times. And to me, that was one of the most rewarding.
Right. Okay. Thank you for answering that question. So, with your extensive background in both nonprofit and commercial sectors, how do you approach government organizational change differently based on the nature of the entity?
One of the things that I'm looking at in my studies, but also it's just echoed in what I've experienced a long time. The major focus of an organization really has to do with purpose. Why do they exist, and what is the value that they give? And so in not-for-profit and value they give is provide services and in case capabilities to citizens and to others, and they're less profitable, responsible for cost containment, that sort of thing. In the that they give is in being able to shareholder value, but also a service that help the organization sustain within profitability overall. And so the approach really has to deal with the value proposition of the organization.
Okay, so this or that, that's what we're going to start now. Enterprise transformation or operational excellence?
Well, they're very closely connected together, and to me, the focus is on knowing when that you need transformation to be able to get to a different level of performance for that operational excellence journey. But I think the more difficult issue is actually being able to identify, focus, and align your organization to successfully get from where you are to where you need to be.
Great, thank you for that. Non-profit organizations or commercial enterprise?
Well, I enjoy all of them. And one of the things I mentioned before as part of my doctoral studies and research is I believe that there is a full spectrum of placement. All of those organizational types and issue and focuses are required in order to make a society successful. And so I'm looking to be able to make that connection between business, government, and not-for-profit and organize with their stakeholders. So I like them all.
You like them all? Right, we like that. Next one then, leading change or managing?
Well, at this point, I'm more focused on leading and actually really supporting leaders in change because the responsibility and the capability of organizational change resides with the leader. And that's not something that the leader can delegate or even hire somebody to come and change my organization for you. So what they can do is they can bring in people like myself to be able to help that leader be able to understand, focus on what their organization needs, and be able to guide them through the techniques and experiences to get successful, to accomplish successful transformation. Okay.
Next one then, Lean Six Sigma, which we know you are an expert of. Oh, project management, because I know you do both anyway.
I do both. I'm more focused though, and I think I get a more alignment with my focus on strategy implementation and strategy alignment with the Lean Six Sigma, particularly as a master black belt, being able to help define the strategic measures of quality and organizational operations and excellence to be able to help those leaders get to where they want to go. Project management is very necessary, and I still use those tools as necessary from time to time. I do more of the exec level of project management, but I really like focusing on strategy and helping the leaders get their organization to where they want to go. Right.
Well, that's not surprising because you're a black belt, and certified anyway. Okay, so the next one then, ASO, as an ASO treasurer, we know that was what you were before. Which one do you prefer? ASOQ treasurer or ASQ treasurer or designated examiner?
Well, again, it's one of those hard to choose different roles. As treasurer, this was a give back of my responsibility as a volunteer leader of the organization. ASQ is the largest quality professional organization in the world with about 40,000 members. And as an officer of the corporation and a member of the board as treasurer, it was my responsibility to ensure that our financial resources were applied correctly to make sure that we are delivering the value, capable of delivering the value that we wanted to deliver. And that is preparing individuals and organizations in the areas of the arts and sciences of quality to be able to produce excellence. As a designated examiner, that was and is a new area where I focused on working with the development of a new standard. Is the American National Standard Institute, ASQ, Government One standard, where we were defining and we helped define the maturity of government organizations relative to their performance. And as part of the initial cohort of designated examiners, my job is to help be able to define the way that we look at independent evaluation of standards and also help those organizations. I was the internal consultant using my designated examiner skills for the first two award-winning organizations. That was the U.S. Court of Appeals Federal District and the U.S. Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Field Explosives Response Team for their award-winning applications under this standard.
Right. Thank you so much for answering these or that questions for us, because now we think we know you better. We're going to dive straight into the interview. And our first question for you today is, can you share a specific example from your career where your expertise in enterprise transformation had a profound impact on organization's success?
The one that I am most tied to, and I think had the most dramatic effect on me, and the one that I always use when I answer this question, was when I was the deputy director of the Division of Family and Children's Services in Georgia and the founding director of the Office of Change Management. And I was brought in to be able to help implement and do a organizational change management effort for the field organization to be able to implement a new field technology for case management. What I found out, though, was, you have an idea that the Division of Family and Children's Services are dealing with families when they're at their most vulnerable and when they have the most need. And the impact of the most vulnerable of those families, the children and generally the incapacitated elders. And what I learned at that time is that the dramatic, difficult work of casework was being handled by paper. And going through looking at the research and understanding how difficult that case management job is, there was a lot of turnover of case managers. And as a result, that information was written on paper forms, and vital information was sitting on supervisor's desk, where there was a dramatic change that a caseworker was trying to let their superiors know that there is a needed additional resources or focus for a family. And children died because there was a transition of caseworkers while that information was sitting on a supervisor's desk that was unable to be handled. And so what we were able to do was to turn around that difficult transformation because it had gotten bogged down. The caseworkers were not able to define their requirements correctly. The organization was not used to using technology. And yet there was still this tremendous pressure to get something done because lives were at stake. And so we were able to turn that project around, get it focused and aligned on using off-the-shelf technology. At that time, it was kind of leading edge, but it was off the shelf of convertible laptops that were able to recognize handwriting. And we automated those paper forms that the caseworkers were used to working on and made them electronic so that the information was available to the supervisors right away. And it literally changed the process and allowed us to be able to save lives by actually changing this organization. And that has had the most profound impact on me in my career.
Wow, that is so interesting. Leading from that, then, with your extensive background in both nonprofit and commercial sectors, how do you approach organizational change differently based on the nature of the entity?
The biggest difference in any organization, regardless of whether they're government, not-for-profit, or commercial, is
Mhm.
the value proposition. What and the purpose of that organization? What do they do, and what value do they deliver? For governmental and not-for-profit organizations, they are focused on being able to deliver a service for their constituents. For government, it is actually citizens themselves. Those are this mass of customers, and also the political leaders that are enabling them and charging them to go about delivering particular services. And so, in order to be able to implement change in those different areas, you really need to focus on the value proposition and the purpose of that organization. And that will dictate what type of changes are required to be able to go to that next level of performance that the organization and their leader is looking to accomplish.
Interesting. Wow. Okay, so as a founding member of the ASQ designated examiners, can you elaborate on the importance of evaluating the quality of government operations and services?
Well, one of the things that we continually look at in government is tax and funding dollars being able to accomplish the work that the constituents, the citizens, and their elected leaders are wanting to get done. And so, quite often, the processes are measured on their throughput or their turnover or how much time that they're spent, and not necessarily on the accomplishments of the objectives of what the program is really meant for. And so with the new ASQ NCG1 standard, we started looking at the capability and the maturity of the organization to be able to deliver against what they're committed and they're charged to deliver with. And so capability maturity models allows an organization to be to state what is their value, their purpose, what are the processes and systems that they have for doing that, and how capable and are they delivering against those. And so as designated examiner for the government processes, that allows us to be able to have a manageable system by which leaders at all levels can look at the performance of their organization compared to the systems and processes that they're managing, and be able to say, are we just beginning, or are we actually delivering at the top of the capability spectrum for what we're charged to do?
Right. Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Man, I mean, you are so experienced and your knowledge is so is
I
so
just
interesting.
been around a while, seen a few things.
Okay, thank you for that. So, having served in various leadership roles, including being a CEO and a COO, what leadership um, qualities do you believe are essential for guiding organizations,
I
especially the transformational changes?
I think the biggest and the of what I've found over time to be the most fundamental requirement of a leader of an organization is integrity. And what I mean by that is that not just the obvious ones where we're talking about moral integrity, but really being true to yourself and understanding who you are and what your organization is about.
Yeah.
One of the examples that I've been using just recently, and I hope I am quoting him correctly, but the CEO of Shopify a while back
Yeah.
told his employees that we are not a family. We are a high performing team. And so you expect different things from a family relationship, but in this relationship, we expect everybody to give their best and go beyond to provide value for our customers.
Yes.
Now, I thought that that was actually very clarifying, because so often you find leaders that innocently or just cavalierly, they say, we're a family here. Well, that's not true. Because that if you are a family, you behave very differently toward people, and that you have a very different promise to each other that doesn't break because of the performance of an individual. In a family, if you have somebody that cannot or will not, sometimes you have to carry them along. That's not the case in a lot of organizations and businesses. And so I think it's clear then for incumbent upon that leader to be clear about what are we about, what value do we have, and here's who I am to be able to guide you in that direction.
Yeah, I think that is very true. In business, we often say that we are a big family and we should behave as such. But from what you said, that is very, clarifying. We are not a family in the social sense, but maybe business family, which actually has a very different value.
Yeah. And another example, I have another colleague in my doctoral studies program that his company is a small boutique chemical manufacturer, and he does consider his organization as family, and he takes it very personally when individuals decide that they want to leave. He invests a lot with them. And during the pandemic, he went to extraordinary means to make sure that they didn't lose anyone, that everybody's needs were taken care of, and that when the business turned around, they were capable of being there to continue.
Thank you so much. That's really, really clarifying there, the type of family we are, both in the social sense and in business. Thank you for that. With your certifications ranging from Six Sigma, the Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, to talent optimization consultant, how do you integrate these two drivers' skill sets to address especially the complex challenges in today's business landscapes?
Yeah, I think there's an old music term. It's relatively old, but it's kind of new, but it's called fusion. And the idea is that all of these different elements merge together to produce value. And so I see all of those different certifications and interests really come together around delivering value for the support that I give to my clients in being able to do what I do. I use the master black belt tools to understand the strategic value of quality and organizational design. I use project management to be able to help organize the change that they need to go through. And the quality advocacy, both designated examiner and certified quality auditor, to be able to look and evaluate where are you in reality, objectively today. And then as a talent optimization consultant, I look at being able to ensure that the right people are part of the organization and help the leader decide, are they right people in the organization, and are those people in the right places on the right teams to be able to deliver the value that you're trying to deliver.
Thank you for that. Wow. So everything is around value.
Always.
In view of that, where would you place artificial intelligence then?
Artificial intelligence is the next biggest disruptive technology that we will have to deal with. One of the issues, and it's a reality, artificial intelligence has actually been around for a long time, but we are now at that point where the hardware and the software and the computer capabilities are just at that point where they're able to deliver real value and change. Right. But there's the capability of, and like everything with major disruption, there's a significant opportunity for good, but also significant opportunity for tremendous badness. And so my focus is on being able to help leaders and organizations understand the dangers and the seriousness of ensuring that you have the capability and the oversight in place to understand how you're using this tool, but also to capitalize on it, because the value that it can help deliver is tremendous. It changes the way that these tasks that would take a significant amount of people to be able to do, that we're now able to automate and make and get information, not just deal with data, but get information from that data and be able to act on it in a significant way.
Thank you for that. So we can see the infusion then from this that we're doing now, or the how we approach.
Yes.
So we can see, yeah, go on.
The big concern and the piece that, while I'm a big advocate for deployment of artificial intelligence in the various formats of it and applying it to accomplishing big problems, like figuring out how do I build an investment package to take a family that is dealing with limited income and maximizing their opportunities so that they become wealthier and deal with the middle class, eliminating poverty. How do I design healthcare such that I'm able to deliver healthcare that meets the individual needs of unique populations, to be able to get them the fullness out of healthcare that others get. However, that's also the major concern. This tool, like everything else, is made by human beings. And the biggest concern is bias. Human beings are biased, and either intentionally or unintentionally. And this capability allows bias to be automated and deployed on steroids. You can do so much great things, but also you can implement bias so dramatically that it's so hard to find, because the leaders and the stakeholders on the outside think, well, this is the computer that has done that versus somebody that has done it. One of the people that I promote is Dr. Joy Buan-Lamwini. She's a wonderful young lady. She's the founder of the Algorithmic Justice League and a doctorate from MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and also the Georgia Institute of Technology. And in her work, she focuses on the bias. One of the things that she found out was in her work and her studies at MIT is that one of the biases that was built into facial recognition software was it did not see people of dark skin. She is originally, her folks are from Ghana, and she's dark skinned, and she could not program the off-the-shelf facial recognition software to recognize her. So she had to put a white face mask on for the software to recognize her. So I recommend that anybody that's interested in the biases and the difficulties around that, take a look at the work of Dr. Buan-Lamwini and her Algorithmic Justice League to be able to understand the dangers that we need to overcome.
Oh my goodness. Okay, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. And it is actually a pleasure to have you on our show today, discussing especially your journey, your success, your knowledge, your expertise on our talk show today. Thank you for coming on. Before you go, we would like to ask if you have any inspirational advice for our viewers out there.
Well, my advice is, and this advice that I'm taking, is stay curious and continue to move forward. There's a lot of things in this world that need to be better, and you may just have the answer. And so I encourage everyone to stay curious and figure out how can you make your part better. I have another podcast that I have called Leadership Luminaries Lounge, and I've decided that I'm going to make my closing segment is to let your light shine. So that's my recommendation to everybody. Keep letting your light shine.
Shine, let your light shine. Thank you so much. Thank you. And lastly, if we want to contact you, how can we contact you?
Sure. My website is www.makingitreality.com. That's again, our company is Potential to Reality Consulting. And you can email me at info@makingitreality.com. And there's also a contact segment there on my website directly too. Look forward to chatting with anyone about what you're trying to do, and be happy to see if we can work together.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on our show today. And here, we've heard it all. If we want to chat or contact Kerry, please let's head on to his website. His social info will be in the description as well as in the show notes anyway. So we will be able to get that information from there, and we'll be able to contact. Thank you so much, Kerry. Thank you for coming on our show today.
Thank you for having me.
And that's it, everyone. It's goodbye from myself and Kerry. Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on Mission to Inspire. Subscribe if you have not already done so. Like, comment, leave a message. Let's stay connected. Let's jointly inspire the world.